Adobe has started including a lot of its AI tools into free to use tools for education. So Adobe Firefly has a lot of these AI tools for its generative AI. So it's going to be creating something using the AI prompt that you give it. So some of these are making their way into, of course, their larger products. But if you used Adobe Express recently, it used to be called Adobe Spark. There are some of these options which are easily available to you. So like one of them is text to image, where you're writing out a text prompt and it'll create some images based on what you put in there. And then you have the option to redo the prompt to get different images and some different ways to change that. And we'll look at that in a second. Generative fill, kind of seeing the example here, pretty much you use the brush to identify the areas you want. You use a text prompt and it will replace it. One of my favorite examples of this is that there's like a cat on the road, got replaced with a dog wearing a top hat, and it created it perfectly. Text effects, kind of really cool. If you want to make a sign or a label on something, you can describe what you want it to look like and it will create the text in that format. And then of course, generative recolor here, you can see that pretty much you can change the color of an image a lot of different ways, or artwork or anything you put out there. We're going to play around with the text to image. So I've already logged into my account. And so you can use your school account, use your personal account. You may have to look to see if your school has blocked this or not. That is something that's happening, is that schools are saying the rules on AI. But as a teacher, you should be able to have access to this. And I'm actually on my personal account right now. So I'm going to give it a little prompt. So I'm going to say a road bike leaning against a wooden fence next to a cornfield. We're in Iowa, so this is a thing I get to see a lot in the summertime. And so what it's doing is going to give me 4 options for that. It's going to create that. But then I'm going to have some options for what I can do on here on the right side. I can change the aspect ratio. I can even change kind of the style and the content. And I can even put some extra effects on it. So you see it created these 4. I'm going to skip that tour right now. It gives me 4 of these options. They look really good. They actually, some of these look almost photorealistic. And so there's a lot of generative AI tools which can create definitely a more cartoony effect. This is creating very, very great looking ones. And you can even see, you can even rate these. So you can say, hey, this really did well with this. You see, I even have some edit options here. And so I can use some of those other tools here. I can even remove the background. I got text and more. All great options here. But again, on the right side here. So visual intensity, I can change that. I can change content type. If I want to match a different style, I can even upload an image here. You can see that I have a lot of different effects here. And you can even see, let's say if I want to do this, it'll actually go and be able to change those if I want. I really don't want to do that right now. I kind of like the ones I have. But I can even go into color and tone. I can go into the lighting. I can go to the composition. I can even do photo settings. You can see you can even change this a little bit. So like the aperture, pretty much where you're looking at the lens blur in the back or forward. And then you can see how it's going to add that down here. So let's say I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a digital art. I'm going to add that to there. I'm going to click generate. And it's going to actually be able to regenerate those images for me. Again, I could go back. I could change the prompt. And this is actually where you're going to find a lot of the learning curve for this is all in how you design the prompt, how much information you give it, what information you don't need to give. And now you can see the images that you got here. I kind of like the first ones myself, but you can see how you can change these using some of those options on the back side here, on the right side here. So Adobe Firefly is using AI to create images. Again, this is not so, it's not searching for these images, not trying to find something out there. It's creating for these on the instance. You can have students create these prompts. There's a lot of really cool activities you can do with this. One of the things I would look into, though, as you're using these resources, is make sure students know how to cite these resources. Again, it's using a tool to create it, but you still want to cite where you're getting these resources from. So this is Adobe Firefly. It's a really great tool, very powerful, and definitely one I could see getting a lot of use in the classroom.